What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today I wanted to tell you a little story about how my past as a pretty serious musician and decent guitar player actually taught me a lot of lessons that I ended up using both in business and copywriting specifically when it came to becoming a better copywriter and implementing daily practices that would take me there. Let's get into it. I don't know if any of you guys are big musicians or have ever really learned an instrument in a serious way, but back in the day, when I was in high school, when I was like 14 to 18, I lived for the guitar. I skipped out on social events, I skipped class, I skipped my homework. I skipped everything so that I could play guitar. And I don't really know how it is in other instruments, but I'm sure it's similar. But there's a huge emphasis on practicing constantly. The number of hours you practice per day is correlated everywhere with how good a guitar player becomes. And you read the guitar magazines and you see this and you see that XYZ person practiced for 10 hours a day and that's why they're so good. And that starts to fuck with your head eventually. It's actually probably a really unhealthy way to look at things, looking back. Because if you don't end up being one of the best guitar players in the world, even if you loved it at the time, you might look back and say, I wish I had done this and that. You can't, that's 2020 hindsight though, so I don't really worry about it too much. But when I was at the height of that, I found something by a guitar player named Steve Vai. And if you don't play guitar, you probably don't know who he is, and it doesn't really matter, but he's widely considered one of the best guitar players in the world. And when Steve Vai was a kid, he was famous for doing his so-called 12-hour workout, his 12-hour daily guitar practice. I always wanted to do this when I was growing up over summer vacation or something, but I was not nearly serious enough and I didn't do it. But what he did was, for 12 hours a day, he would practice guitar, breaking each hour up into different segments that encompassed a different part of guitar playing. So when the right hand is called your picking hand, that you hold the pick, then the left hand is your fretting hand. So the first hour might be picking hand exercises, then fretting hand exercises. Then he might do the third hour of rhythm work and fourth hour of soloing. You break it down into different things like this. And when I got into business, for the longest time, I was trying to think of ways that I could develop a daily practice that actually increased my skills in a tangible way. For the most part, for a lot of... I've got the cat here. Hello, Olive. Scratching and shaking the camera. But when I was learning how everything about business, starting over again from scratch, the way I did with guitar, it struck me that, hey, I could probably apply that same idea to things like copywriting and marketing. And now I really wish that this is how I had started from day one. I wish I had developed a plan where maybe not for 12 hours a day, but for enough time, maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, I broke up my time into specific increments that worked on specific skill sets. And this is really easy when you think about copywriting because there's a lot of exercises that people get recommended a lot, but they don't actually do a lot. So say you have 3 hours a day. Now, 3 hours a day is kind of intense, but I'm kind of an intense guy. So I was easily ready to devote 3 hours a day to doing this stuff. Starbucks from 7 to 10 p.m., hell yeah. So for the first hour, I might go through and handwrite famous sales letters. I would go through and have a Gary Halbert day or a Ben Savenga day, and I would find their sales letters. I would go through and just hand copy them, do it for an hour. Then after I do that, I'm kind of warmed up and I've got my head in the right place for copywriting. So I would go to the next hour and say, all right, now what can I do? Another challenge that really kind of hit me hard and improved my skill set was Write new ads every day. I know this sounds trivial, but the reality is most people, copywriters, media buyers, are not actually creating every day. In fact, this is across all disciplines. So if you go every day and say, hey, I'm going to write 5 new ads every day for 30 days, even if you don't launch them, you're going to become ridiculously better at what you do. That's 150 new ads. There's entire products, probably businesses I've tried where I never tried 150 different ads. So think about how much higher you could get that graph to go just by trying these new ads that explore angles, products, just communicating with the customer in different ways that you didn't before. This is really low-hanging fruit because everything else is already set up the way you want it to be, but you're just not fueling the fire as much as you could be. So after I do my handwriting or hand copying of my favorite sales letters, go through and create 5 new ads. Now, it might take you less than an hour, more than an hour, whatever. You might just write headlines. You might write full ads. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. You could just say, hey, I'm going to bang out as many headlines as possible. You could probably create 100 headlines in an hour, at least 50 for sure. You might say, hey, I'm going to create 3 sales letters. I'm going to time box myself into 20-minute intervals. And I'm just going to bang out 3 sales letters, headlines, subheadlines, body copy, calls to action, and they don't need to be perfect, but the purpose is to simply get yourself in the rhythm so that when new ideas strike, you're ready to execute on them. And when you have requirements for new products or ideas, you're used to executing on them in a really quick, efficient, like just on the dot kind of way, quick draw. You're there, your skills are there when you need them. That's really important. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you can't afford to sit there and think about things all day before you take action on them. So I really like sort of implementing this quick draw idea into my daily practice. Then, after that, another idea that I really like, I got this one from Ben Settle too. Find a random product and then find a random event that happened to you that day and tie them together with both an ad and a sales letter. So, for example, I might say, hey, I'm coming up with this on the spot too, so don't judge me too hard. I might say, hey, I'm trying to sell Elgato microphones, my sweet Elgato microphone, and I might say, hey, my car didn't start today. All right. Those things seem like they are, on the face of it, unrelated. But if I had to write an email that was going out, how I could probably tie them together. I would say, the thing that was running through my head as I endured the silence of my car not starting, and how that would make me feel if I was enduring the silence of a microphone that didn't work every time. Or maybe I was enduring what I would rather have as silence, but instead I had low quality audio from a crappy USB mic. See where I'm going with this? It's kind of an X for Y exercise. The Uber of dog walkers. It's all about juxtaposing 2 random things into a third thing that is actually meaningful and productive. So if you have a third hour, I would go through and say, all right, I'm either going to choose a couple random products or I'm going to have somebody choose random products for me. That's even better because that way you don't have any sort of angle in your head already and you're really starting from scratch. But I'm going to take my list of products, I'm going to take my list of ideas, my random situations that relate to those products, and then tie them together. This is another one where you could kind of go big or small depending on what you feel like that day. You might say, hey, I'm going to write a full campaign in this hour for this product with the weird angle, or I'm going to come up with a bunch of them and see how many I can kind of bang out. If you were going to do the entire hour, I think a great thing to do would be to say, hey, all right, I need to come up with ads for this product. I need to come up with sales letters for this product. And I'm going to come up with a back-end funnel. So I might write 5 ads, say the kind of ads you'd run on Instagram, so that you need a headline, body copy, and a picture. What would I choose for these things? And at this point, you're already warmed up enough that you're thinking about angles and good copy and all the tools you need to create the hook that's going to relate to the customer and pull them into your call to action. What are those ads going to look like? Then you're going to write the sales letter that incorporates those, drawing your customer further into your funnel. Remember, you're getting their interest, and then you're creating desire at this point. That's really what the sales letter is for, because you've got their attention. But what is going to get them interested and funnel them down towards buying? That's where we're at with this. Now, say they bought the product. All right, every product really should have a back-end flow that can help you capitalize off who you know your good customers are even further. So the first thing you might do with that is, all right, what is an upsell page or a one-time offer or something I can add at checkout that's relevant to this customer, relevant to the product they just bought, but is something that will build onto the other product. You know, this is the technical side of marketing a little more. This is increasing your average order value, customer lifetime value. That's a whole video of its own. But right now, we're just being creative. We're just coming up with ideas that sort of tie everything together. So the first step in our back end really occurs at purchase. What's the one-time offer we can add? All right, cool. Now they either take that upsell or they don't. And then from there, we're going to start them on our email flow. So you might write 3 emails, for example, that are the beginning of the email flow that you send to this customer however frequently you like to email your list. So, all right, thank you. You know, that's generally the first one, right? There's going to be a thank you email. Thank you for buying this product. Here's maybe some ideas on using it. And then at the end of that, say, also, if those things are working for you, say they bought the microphone, I have a ebook or a course or a video series on content creation and audio quality and editing. You might be interested in that because now you have something to make content with. So the next step is, how do I create better content? This is how you slowly add value to your customer through every step of the ladder, that you take them both through the funnel and through your relationship with them. The idea is always, our relationship with the customer is a ladder that goes up step by step, adding more value to their life. We're not just trying to hawk random crap on them, we're trying to help them. That's what all good products do at the end of the day. If any of you have any reservations about selling, all you need to keep in mind is that I have a product that's legitimately helping my customer. And if you know deep down that you are helping them by giving them this product, you don't need to have any more reservations about selling. So we got a little sidetracked from our email flow there. But our email flow is going to be what takes them through that relationship and that value ladder after they've made their initial purchase. See? So those are the 3 things that I suggest starting with right off the bat is spend some time hand copying sales letters and ads from famous, excellent copywriters. Everybody knows that, but not everybody does it in a consistent and applied way. Then, after that, go through and do your exercise of combining random products with random events to create an angle that you can use to hook customers and begin the sales process. That's really going to build the creativity muscle that you'll need long-term to become a good copywriter and produce quality ideas for new clients and products forever. And then, once you've worked on that, choose one of those. Actually, I skipped my favorite one. I skipped the ad creation. Go through and create as many ads as you can. Even if it's just 5 a day, go through and create all those ads and keep track of them. If you can do that for 30 days and look over what you have at the end of the month, even if you're not selling a product right now, you're going to have become so much better at creating quality ads that hopefully lead to conversions that you won't believe it. So after you've done those things and you go through and do your entire mock sales campaign using some of those ads or new ads, creating a new sales letter, hitting them with the beginning of your backend, which is your one-time offer or your add to cart upsell, and then beginning the relationship building process through your email series. Email is definitely my favorite way to sell to any customer because when you have an email list, you have a group of people who you're establishing a relationship with, who like you, and if they're customers, have already proven that they're looking to buy what you have to sell. So these are the people that you should always be paying the most attention to and always cultivating relationships with in the biggest way, because that's what's going to pay off in the end. A brand is often thought of as visual and social perception, and in the interactive way, that's definitely true. But from a business standpoint, the most important thing that a brand is it's a family of customers that this business has cultivated over time. If somebody buys a brand, yeah, there's intellectual property and there's product designs and everything that goes into a business, but most importantly, they have a family of customers. So as you do these exercises, keep in mind, I'm doing this to build my family of customers. Go through and do this every day to the extent that you can. 3 hours a day is a lot, and I realize that a lot of people aren't going to have 3 hours a day, especially if you have a day job. But break it down. Even if you can only do 20 minutes on each section so that you're practicing for an hour a day, if you can go through and do this, that's how you're going to consistently level up your skill set and develop what you need to have a profitable, successful business in the long run, exactly the same way that musicians level up their skill set so that they can play and write more difficult and beautiful music over time. Thank you for listening to these 3 tips, guys. This is very much the kind of flow that I like to keep up with my daily email list too. In fact, I often will step up the intensity for my email list as far as how deep I get with these things and how specific my examples are. So I definitely recommend you go to cjboake.com, throw in the link in the description, and sign up for my email list there so that we can go even deeper and build an even better relationship. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I will see you in the next video. Over and out.